Hey, Zealous Talon here, and this is the review for the Power Rangers Samurai SharkZord. I forget if this was part of the Samurai line or the Super Samurai second year line. I think it's the Super Samurai line is where this guy comes in. It confuses me. But anyway, with the Go Say Great Megazord having been released at Toys R Us's and us needing to look forward to the 2013 Megaforce adaptation, it dawned on me that I had not finished my Samurai reviews. So, we'll get started with this one. This is the SharkZord. This is part of the Zord Vehicle line, around that $15 price point. This is the adaptation of the Kyoryu Origami. Where they got a shark from this, I don't know, because, okay, here's what the Kyoryu Origami would have looked like normally, is that. And it's a dinosaur, quite clearly. You've got 4 legs, a long neck, a little tail. But they decided that it's all sharp and spiky, so they need to put some fucking fins on it and turn it into a land shark, which makes no sense. Yeah, I really only got this guy so that I could form the Gigazord with the shark sword, or I don't know what they fucking called it, but the Kyoryu Samurai Hao is pretty much the only reason I got this guy. He does come with a little, I think it's called the Shark Attack Ranger. It's basically the Red Ranger in Mega Mode with some it's basically Hyper Shinken Red done as Samurai Red, and so like the hyper armor is like adjusted for the Mega Mode and shit. And he's got his legs slightly spread, left arm on his hips, right arm 90 degrees to the body, holding the sword 90 degrees to his arm. His head twists and his helmet comes off, and his head looks dorky in either mode as a result. Can't find him for the life of me. I know I have him, otherwise I would have had him here. So, now that my complaints are over, what can this... Well, my complaints aren't over, but what can this thing do? Well, that. Also, as a unique gimmick to the Bandai America SharkZord, something that the Kyoryu Origami could not do, he has pegs on his hips, and so you can take the beetle and swordfish, already decked out for their, battle cannon formation, and pop out his head, and you have the samurai shark wing. Take it or leave it, folks. Take it or leave it. I choose to leave it. But it's there, so you deserve to know. He has wheels. That's cool. He can roll. He does have a combination with the Samurai Megazord, as is obligatory, so we're going to take the sword away. Take away the helmet, put it in the leg, like we always do. And then for this guy, all we're going to have to do is take off the front legs and pop out the neck and pull out from his belly. There's going to be a little handle. The front legs are going to combine. It's a tight snap. Form a head crest that sits on there kind of loosely, but it stays. And then we'll just put this in his hand, and you have the Shark Attack Megazord, formerly known as Kyoryu Shinkano. Works, actually in some ways it works better than the Kyoryu Shinkano, because the Kyoryu Origami was enormous because it doubled as a role-play toy. So this, actually, you would take off the back legs as well. Those would form a stand. The tail was tall enough that the thing was so big that the tail would fit into that stand, and the point would still be like up here. Because again, like I said, it doubled as a role-play toy. And that kind of gets me into my complaints with the SharkZord, and it also kind of pertains to the Light Zord, which I will not be getting. My issue being that I really think that part of the magic of this toy in the original Shinkenger line was the fact that it was a roleplay toy as well as a Zord. So you basically had this, sword that you could, as a kid or even, an adult with small hands, you could run around, and it had the same spinning gimmick as the Shinkenmaru or, spin sword. So you could do all that, but plus, it had this awesome looking, dinosaur head blade, and it had the handle that flipped out so that you could use it with your Zord. So it was like, awesome level of play value. And I think that Bandai America really missed out on making this a much better toy if they had kept it kind of role-play sized and focused a little bit less on it being a Zord, because really the combinations of it, even as the Kyoryu Origami, were weak. It was kind of there, and it was awesome because it looked cool and it was in the show. But they did the same thing to the Light Zord, where, Daigoyo could combine, he could limb swap fully with the Shinkano, and then he could also be used as a roleplay toy, as a lantern in Jite. And they lost that with the Light Zord. He doesn't function as a roleplay toy anymore. In fact, he barely functions as a Jite and lantern for Samurai Hao or Shinkano. So, I did forget to mention that there are little handles on the fins, so you can detach them and give them to any 4-inch Ranger figure if you want to have those in a place where they will not get lost and you want your SharkZord to look more like a Kyoryu Origami. I don't have any 4-inch Rangers that have hands that can hold things, just the ones that came packed in with Zord vehicles, so I'm going to be keeping these on. Also, as being part of the Super Samurai line of Zord vehicles, he did come with a little papercraft Kyoryu Origami that has long ago fell apart and was torn to bits. So those are just fun little pack-ins, but it's not a selling point for the toy. Really, I can only recommend this if you already have all the other figures in the all the other Zords in the line, give or take the Light Zord, and really only if you really want the Shark Attack Megazord, or to give this to your Gigazord. He's just not really worth it otherwise. They really kind of botched adapting this in my eyes, and yeah, it really seems like the Claw Zord was kind of the high watermark of the Samurai line. So anyway, this has been Zealous Talon here. Stay tuned for the reviews of the Bull Megazord and finally the Gigazord.